Alright, so what we're going to be doing now is creating our weaponry. So we're going to start off with this big turret. That if I can get my background images back. There we go, we're going to start off with this one here. We're going to build in these supports, some armor. Most of the other stuff, like the other guns and armor, they're going to be done together, just as it makes it a little easier that way. Whereas if we did, for example, all the guns first and then build the armor around it, we'd have to move around some guns and such, which can work, but you know, it's good just to build things together as you go. Okay, so let's go ahead and go Shift-C, Shift-A, add in a cylinder. Just going to go F6, I'm just going to change the end, the cap fill type to triangle fan. And make sure we're on 8 vertices. Radius can be quite small, something like this, that's fine. Just rotate that by 90. Just going to extend this one out. Shrink that in a little. Extrude, scale, extrude, extrude and scale, and extrude. Just going to duplicate this one, scale it up, come around and just scale this along the X a little, something like this. This one here we can extrude back. And this is the size of the gun I want on the top of the vehicle. If you wanted, you could in fact have 2 of these. See how that looks. That is a massive gun, considering the size of this vehicle. How big we can make it? No, that's too big. I like doing that sometimes, just scaling things up, you know, and being like ridiculously massive weapon on the top. But as awesome as that would be, it kind of looks like it's a toy car now. So yeah, I'm thinking that I might have this as a dual barrel gun on top. All of my instructions were is it has to have a massive gun. So this is a rather massive looking gun, or turret of some sorts. Alright, so let's go in another cylinder, get that round. Okay, just giving it a bit of a rounded piece there. Go Shift D, Z, and we want to go Oops. Move that into place about there. Now, if you remember from reference, I'm actually using this as my reference image for constructing this, which I'm just keeping on my external monitor. You can find that image on Google somewhere. I basically Googled artillery weapons or something like that. If you can't find it, pause the recording before, so rewind and pause it, and then take a screenshot. I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to put any of my references into the resources for you, as I'm unsure on the licensing, which is a bit of a bugger, but oh well. Alright. May seem a little weird what I'm doing now, but don't worry, there is a purpose. There is a purpose to my madness. This is basically the end of the artillery cannon, so sort of just the region at the end where the shells come out. This kind of supports them and stuff. I'll move back a little. I'll just go. Alright, so something like that. Anyways, we can probably change that later. It's not really important. I'm not particularly liking the look of that N now that I've created it. But being this is a blocking phase, I don't want to spend too long tweaking it. So I'm going to leave it as is. Alright, so I'm going to add in the cube, bring it across, scale it in. Just make this kind of a bracket for the base. Delete that half. Alright, so this piece is kind of like a pivot. So we'll duplicate this one, rotate it by 180, bring it down. Bring this one up. Alright, and something like that. That'll do anyway. Alright, so I'm going to go add in a mesh, going to add in a cylinder. Just going to go RY90. Scale that up a little. Down. Move it roughly into position here, and if you haven't figured this out already, this is my gas tank. Should probably be quite big, should be about this size. And you notice this here is now intersecting, so we're going to take that back, probably just drag it back to about there. Keeps that pointing forward. Alright, and that is the big cannon done. I'm going to go File, Save As, and it's good just to save extra versions. So I like to save one file per video. You guys should just be saving every time you reach a new stage. Save a new version and then you can go back. Alright, so that is the big cannon. When we finalize the design, so when we go through and we, how do I put this? So in the detailing phase, when we go through and we add all the details here, we fix up all this and make it look nice, that is when we'll go in and we'll add in, say, the cables that will go up to our armor, or up to our bullet holders or whatever it is. Perhaps there's some bullet storage in here and it's just got a pipe coming from here into the back which feeds the bullets in. That's the sort of stuff we'll do in the detailing phase, but for now we will leave it as is. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add in some armor, and we're also going to add in some guns and stuff. So the first thing I am going to do is create this few bits and pieces of armor. So first bit I'm going to do is just this one down here. Alright, RY90, scale it down to approximate size. Apply rotation scale. Extrude that up. Doesn't have to be exact. Remember, we drew this quickly. Alright, add in a mirror modifier. Just so it's on both sides. Also going to come in and add in a solidify modifier. And I might actually just go origin to geometry and chuck that onto center. Alright, so add in a, no, not a skin modifier. The skin does give a very nice, interesting look. Looks pretty cool. Anywho, we don't want that. Let's solidify. Give it a decent amount of thickness. Something like so. Alright. And what we want to do now is just block in a whole bunch of armor. So let's grab this one. Alright, let's go. Perhaps we'll make this one join on. Alright, so just go extrude up like this. Just match that bit there. Something like that. Okay, so later on we will be splitting these apart, by the way. We will be making them separate pieces, separate thicknesses, and all that kind of good stuff. But for now, just focus on getting some blocked out bits. And once again, once it's in, leave it. Which is sounds kind of funny, but in reality, that is going to be your best thing going for you, is to not focus on getting this looking I don't know, but yeah, you know what I mean. You kind of just need it to be looking cool, but not over the top. You can fiddle around with it later. So you see that's sort of like my door panel. Whether or not this can open, I don't know. Maybe this piece goes in here and it can't actually open, it's just sort of modulated in and designed in a way that is sort of like locked into place. So maybe this was originally an armored door and now it's just been blocked over and stuck, and now they're just getting through the window. By the way, if you are using B surfaces, that can come in quite handy when you're doing this kind of stuff. B surfaces allows you to kind of like draw in your armor on top of your panels that you've already created, and yeah, it looks quite good. You can access B surfaces over here somewhere. Where is it? B surfaces, there it is. Yeah, you can add in, not loop tools, B surfaces. You can add in all that cool stuff. I'm not going to be using it because it's just force a habit. But yeah, it is a really cool tool. Alright, so let's just bring this piece out. Maybe this piece is on top. Try not to have pieces intersecting. you can have a little bit, but if they intersect through the top of each other, it can get a little confusing later on. Alright, moving forward. Alright. Not quite sure what it does there, but every time you recalculate them, it sort of decides it wants to switch them to the other direction. And then you can just come in here and move that minus and they'll flip back. Or you could just not recalculate them. That would also work. Alright. So perhaps we've got some kind of armor on the front here. Alright. Now do be careful when you're creating armor, not to have it too close to the tires. If you do, when the dynamics kick in, provided you've rigged your wheels with dynamics, they can start intersecting and starts causing a problem. This much distance is fine around here. Probably wouldn't want it much closer around the top, but around here is fine. It can definitely start to cause a few issues. Alright. Okay, now the hood is going to need to come up. You can have a few panels that come up and maybe overlap up to about here-ish, but in general, you want it to be able to flip up without too much hassle. Now on the concept here, you can see we've got a sort of scoop coming over. So let's just go and create that now. Which is about that height. I can delete that panel underneath now, it's not really needed now that we've got the armoured one in. something like that. So you can see what it looks like without that there. I think it's better to have that in. Just some sort of a beefy scoop. Let's angle it forward a little. Okay, so that is sort of like the front end. We want to sort of decide where we want the guns and stuff. We want to have headlamps. Headlamps are important. So if I hid this, you can see the light's going to be roughly about here. Which means we need to have one. I think actually it's, yeah, we've got them sort of coming forward there. About there-ish. Delete that edge, and we have a hole for some headlamps. Okay, so something like that. When we refine them, we might go these into some more refined panels, something a bit more like this, rather than just holes. But as I said, this is kind of how it goes at the moment. I'm just going to grab a drink of water, and I'll be back in a moment. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add in some guns. Now, there's a few various ways that we can add in guns, but first we need to decide where we want them. So we've got this massive gun at the back. This is the primary gun. Obviously, if this is like Death Race, for example, the vehicle will drive over a sort of button that enables its primary weapon, which is this one. But generally, it's going to be using some smaller weapons. Well, actually, in general, whatever this is used for, I have no idea what this is going to be used for, but if, for example, this is driving along and it's trying to shoot a vehicle, it's going to be using its smaller, say, machine guns, and when it gets a shot lined up, it will use this massive cannon. Yeah, so we need a couple of smaller weapons, and we need to figure out where to put them. So a good source of inspiration is if we have a look at some weapons here, let's see what we can come up with. Alright, so that's another big cannon. I do like the design on the end of these for the big one. I might change them a bit later on. Alright, so we have some custom built machine guns. Could definitely do something of this style. This would look quite nice. I might bring that one there over into reference. Just sort of a collection on another monitor which I use for references. Bring this one back over. This is more of a handheld weapon. Go. Yeah. Alright, this one here doesn't really hit, it only has one weapon there. I'm not really liking the looks of any of these. Alright, so that means I'm going to go into District 9, check this one, see what this one has. This one doesn't really have much at all in the way of weaponry. This one here, good reference for armor though. Seeing how this armor is placed on. This is what you'd call professionally placed armor. This is done by robots, not by some guy in a scrapyard. Armored wheels, all that. These grills around the windows. Alright. Death race. Come to death race. And just see what we can do. So you can see on this one here we have these machine guns that have just been mounted on the top. I could possibly have some of these in our... Try off another way. I have no idea what's in my other bin file. I think I was working on building. Anywho. There we go. That should speed up performance. Alright, anywho. Just coming back into... These ones. Yeah, these things here. I might have these mounted into the front here. Similarly done, but more integrated. It's a bit too futuristic. Got some nice sort of rockets there. This is quite a nice idea. You've got two machine guns sort of built right down at the base. I might be able to work something like that out. You can see this truck behind this vehicle. This one here has quite a few various little guns. It's got this one on the side. This one here, once again, has those. This one here, we've got the rockets and a couple of little machine guns. This one here is sort of like a Gauss rifle. What's it called? Yeah, Gauss rifle of the big gun. Yeah, that's quite nice. There we go. This one here looks like it look quite nice mounted on the rear of the vehicle, aimed backwards. Yeah, these are very well integrated. Quite a lot of weaponry in these ones. Alright. So with that there in mind, we can go and start constructing some weaponry. So, to start off with, I'm going to create a machine gun. So let's add an cylinder right there, X90. Scale that down. Let's go mirror, pull it down. There we go, quick way to create a 4-barrel machine gun. Because I'm pretty sure they're usually 5. But oh well. Alright, guess it's selected, add in a cylinder. RX90. Alright, in the cube. And we have a machine gun. Okay, so we're going to duplicate this on the X. Yeah, effectively this is a placeholder for a machine gun, by the way. Alright, this one here, a bit bigger. And we now have 2 separate guns. So we're going to bring them over. Just compare them to the side window there, or the bonnet I suppose. Just make sure that these are to the correct scale. Probably going to be about this size. Okay. Now the driver will be sitting on the right hand side, because I'm in New Zealand, and that's where we sit because we drive on the left hand side of the road. If you are doing this for a company that's in America, or I actually have no idea which side of the road Americans drive, but yeah, a country that drives on the other side of the road, which is perfectly fine, it all depends on the country, then yes, you might want to fix that to be on the correct side. Just reset the origin there so that we can point up and down. So on the right hand side, so this means that weapons will want to be on the other side. So something like that, maybe embed them down a little. Something like this. Alright, now it is important that you don't go ahead and go Shift D, X and bring it over there and like do something like this. Why? Because it looks stupid. It looks cool, but now your entire car is symmetrical. It is important that when it comes to big items that you lose some symmetry. Like the big ones like this, having one right in the center, that makes sense. If you had it off center, it would probably destroy your vehicle. So having just a couple of things like these guns off to the side here is perfectly fine. If you want to have symmetry in weapons, you can throw them down, say down in here. That would be fine. It might actually look quite cool. You could also move that one out of the way and have 2 machine guns at the front there, and perhaps we'll have like a rocket on the back here. All weapons being on the side that the driver is not, in case of a misfire. Which makes sense. Okay, that can't fire if it's sitting like that, so maybe something like this. We're going to line of fire, and it's going to have to be quite far out, like this far out, before it can shoot anything, which is fine. So yeah, we'll integrate that with armor back there in a moment. Alright, so what to do now, we're going to go and add in a cylinder. Mesh, cylinder. This one here, RX90, once more. These ones, and have these sitting back not where the chassis is. I have no idea whether it's a bad idea to have rockets so close to your engine. My guess is that it's a really bad idea, but perhaps this has some heat-proof stuff. I don't know. Anyways, I'll leave it like that for now. Alright, edge slide to there. Down to there. And we now have some rockets or machine guns or something pointing at the front there. I'm not sure what to do about that. It seems very illogical to have rockets underneath the engine. But what does seem logical is flamethrowers underneath the engine, because flamethrowers can get as hot as they like. There is no what's it called? I have no idea what it's called now. There's no bullets. Yeah. Alright. Cool, so something like this, there we go, flamethrowers, looking cool. Sort out the mechanics of that when we get to the detail stage. And yeah, I don't even know how far a flamethrower can go, but I suppose if you're tailgating someone. Alright, now rear weaponry. Has to be some form of rear weaponry. What else can we do? Do some rockets up here actually. We can do rockets on top of the hood. Scale, shift Y, tone it down a little. There we go. We have a couple of rockets up here. Now, of course, with rockets, that is not how they are. Extrude this out, scale it up. Okay, rocket. Now, rockets are something you can have on both sides of the vehicle, because if they do blow up, you're gonna die no matter where they are. Unless they're like back corner or something. So you can feel free to have rockets on the other side as well. It's easy enough. Shift D, SX, -1, comma, Control L on object data. And we now have some rockets along the top, which makes sense. Okay, so save that. And well, this tutorial is getting a long time. Let's add in some more armor. So we're going to do some armor on the back. See what if I've drawn anything up. Not really. Alright, so let's just go. Okay, let's pull this one up. What I'm thinking here is there's just some armor that's been curved out. And maybe it comes up here as well. You'll definitely see the benefit here of manually placing each point and not worrying about where it ends up. It's a bit of a faster process and it gets really nice results. It's like breaking things in 3D. Happens accidentally all the time, and when you need to do it on purpose, we have a lot of practice with it. Especially for Maya. I know it sounds bad, Blender users and social Maya users and all that, but I'm actually a Maya user as well. I have to use Maya for a lot of my work, and as amazing as it is for visual effects and animation, I'm sure it crashes every 10 minutes for no apparent reason. Therefore, I can break things in Maya. Okay, so point this one out, extruding across. And alright, check that out. This is actually coming along really nicely now. I have no idea how long we spent on this. I think about an hour, so definitely taking our time, but that's perfectly alright. Now for the inside of here, we would like to have a few more weapons. Actually, we still have a floating gun just sitting out the side. Easily fixed. Shift D, duplicate this one. Something like that. Sort of house this weapon in here quite nicely. Sort of wraps it around like that. You notice that it's like mirrored on the other side there. There's no gun in it. When we go to detail, we'll remove that extra piece there. So we only really want guns on one side of the vehicle. Or some on this side, some on the other side. That would be fine. For example, we could bring this one up to here. And that's okay. But yeah, I'm liking it with all the weapons on one side. Looks very nice from this side and relatively normal, military-like, apart from the rockets on the top. And on this side, it looks really dangerous. Alright. So, entrance. What are we doing? We need to create some rare weaponry, so some weapons that fire backwards. Not quite sure what I'm going to do for that one. I reckon just some machine guns for now. Alright, now we can probably place these underneath the vehicle, pointing backwards. It's a little more inconspicuous. Just going to add in a mirror modifier and center, so we can have them like this. So you can see that's mounted to the chassis there. But it looks a little like exhausts. So it looks a little too much like exhausts. Nah, that's not cool. I don't like that one. Alright, so we have dual rear mounted machine guns, like so. Have them sitting out a little like that. And that's just sort of protecting from the rear. Okay, back to armor. Take this one here. DX, pull it in, shoot it up. Okay, so this one here is a bit of armor. It's coming down this way. Alright, so that's sort of rear armor, kind of important. It's a little too clean for my liking, but I'll sort that out later. Okay, now from front, I believe, yeah, I'd be a bit plain there. Oh, roll cage, that's what we can put in. Ooh, okay, so add in a cylinder. You can see how many cylinders we need in 3D. Seriously, there's just so many cylinders. Alright. Thin that up a little, bring it out, add in a mirror. Alright, yeah, I knew that was going to be a 45-degree angle. Actually, yeah, that's about right like that. Right, so, Y, 90. Put that one up there. Delete those faces. Shrink that down a little. Shift D, and we want this one here to be on the front. About there. Duplicate this one Y, X, 90. Shift D, duplicate this one along the Y. Move it up a little. You can bend these, by the way. Roll cages don't have to be perfectly straight. They are mostly made out of straight pipes and stuff, but sometimes you can have a bit of a bend. I mean, that looks fine like that. Makes it look a little better. Alright, continuing on. Delete half of that, and as you can see, I'm going to have one in the center. Okay, so that is the roll cage thing. We'll make some holes for those bits to go through in the back and sort of like weld them up, make them look nice. You can see here we've got like these lights that come up on the top. We could probably do with some lights actually. Not quite sure where we're going to put them. Let's see what they look like. Add in a UV sphere. This one here is going to be, actually what's that, that was at 32, we want to go 32 divided by 3, and, no, what am I doing? No, 8 and 16. There we go. Okay, so move this up. X90 cross and to roughly the size of a light, and it will need to be up about this high. And you get 4 of them. Okay, so it looks something like that. And those things are like mounted on little sticks, which I'll add in later. They're going to clash with the rockets though, so I might get rid of these. Except for one, which we can maybe stick them in the other hole on the other side. Alright, we now have 4 rockets over in this one. And we can keep our lights. Yay. Alright. Let me move that off a little. Back. Yeah. Probably going to be easier to adjust the roof actually. Okay. So this is coming along very nicely. Let's create some window thingy. Now I saw in one of the Death Race vehicles, one of these, yeah, this thing, sort of like a grate that folds up and down. One of these has it down. There we go. That's what it looks like with it down. It's got glass in there as well. Bulletproof glass, I imagine. I'm not going to worry so much about glass. I just want to have something that's perhaps there's no glass left. What's the chances of finding bulletproof glass in a scrap metal yard or something? Ah, no. I hate when these things pop up. Basically means that Windows is deciding to be Windows. Okay, so I want to have perhaps that much clearance between these, and add a few duplicates. That's F3, by the way, is the recent action menu. Oh, what am I looking for? Solidify. Okay, yay thickness. Alright. Right. Probably should just leave those sticking out. Just the angle. Alright, so yeah, something like that. And we can maybe go, I hate the new cut tool in Blender. Yeah, that'll do. Super precise. I like the old one. Alright, so just make this fit in. Okay, it's been knocked around a little. And we'll sort out the door thingy later. For the meantime though, add modifier, we're going to add a mirror. This one here is going to be set to center. And this one here, mirror object, let's set that to center as well. So obviously it doesn't seem to be in the right center. Okay, that is looking very cool. Oh, there we go. So let's just first one across, second one across. No idea how he's going to see through this. We'll sort that out later. But it's decent protection against things like zombies. Okay, it looks like you'd actually be able to see through that quite well. Just mess this up a little. There we go. That's not quite so elegant. And that is basically it. I don't think there's any more we need to do for the blocking phase. This was about an hour just on the armor and weapons. So yeah, it's really taking a while to do this. But then again, it is a tutorial. So yeah, what we're going to do next is we'll jump in and do the interior and just block that out. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we are going to create the interior of our vehicle. So as you can see, it's looking alright at the moment. It's definitely missing the interior, but it is perfectly fine. You'll notice that there's bits like that are sticking through here from the original door, and stuff like that. Ignore those for now. What we really want to do is create our interior. So I'm just going to hide these for now. Hide that one. Hide a big piece up there. Just so that they are all out of the way. Now we're going to bring up some references. Not that one. We want to bring up these references of actual vehicles. Alright, so what I've got here is the interior of a ute. So that is what we are making. And one thing you'll notice with these, they have bench seats. Bench seats, the wheels come out and they're quite round wheels. They're not like sports vehicles or stuff like that. They are just round, stick out, quite plain, quite simple, and yeah, not overly complex. You'll notice that there is a lot of leather and stuff around here. We probably won't make any leather on the doors, but we will have sort of like leather seats and perhaps a leather dash as well. So you can see here, this is all metal down here. Got a gear stick coming up from the floor. Sort of like a half and half with all the references I've gone through of the standard gear shift coming up. That's not standard, that's a knife, but standard meaning this one coming up from the floor, and the other ones come from behind the wheel, and it's just a different look. It's up to you what one you want to have. It's not overly important. Yeah, I'll probably do something like this layout here. We've got the dual gear sticks coming up. Now that is, one of them is like a low, high, or it'll be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, that kind of stick. And then the other ones is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gears. So is that there to keep in mind. You can see it around here, sort of comes straight off from the front of the vehicle. Alright, so with that there in our minds, let's create some stuff. I'm going to center my cursor, Shift A, add in a cube, pull it up, just make this roughly the size of the seats. Let's pull this one back. I probably need to grab this one here. Have some form of piece here. Oops. Just sort of making a little more room for the feet. Flatten that one out. I can probably just delete this edge loop. Okay, so we need to have this come down a little. Sort of seeing where the person would sit. They will probably sit about here and something like that. Yeah. Excuse my weird drawing skills. Probably even use a grease pencil layer here. So yeah, let's do that. Let's just draw on a person. So I can have a person's head there. Oh, he's got a hat, very nice. And it's holding the steering wheel like that. Therefore, the seats will be about here and here. And we'll have a block on there. Have an area over here for that. That will be in the center, by the way. Steering wheel comes out like so. And dash will be something like that. Alright, and that's sort of the layout that we want to do. Fortunately, this is a 3D grease pencil. So you can actually convert a grease pencil into some halves if you want to move it around. Could even go Alt-C, Mesh, tab into edit mode, extrude it across. Completely up to you. Alright, anyways, origin to 3D cursor, well, that's sitting about there. Onto the object data over here, and we're going to turn on X-ray, and now we can see it through our mesh. Okay. So just rounding off the corners there on the front, just so that we can see that it is in fact a seat. Just going to duplicate this one, rotate it by 90 degrees. And it can come somewhere up to that level. Cool. This cursor to selected, add another cube, scale this one down. Alright, and that is the base of the seat. Okay. So I'm going to grab this one here, duplicate that, scale it up, move this one up a little, forward, move this piece down, it's sort of like the little block that this piece will sit in, because it needs a little more room under there. So yeah, something like that. That'll do. Okay, so we're just going to save this one. Save as blocking version 4. Just get these out of the way. Hide. Alright, so what we need now is we need a dash. So we can add another cube. You can definitely see how creating lots and lots of primitive objects can definitely make things easier for you. Alright, so I want that to be somewhere up here. Alright. Okay. Just creating a bit of a bigger area here for the driver's part of the dash. And what I'm going to do is just extrude this area in. Like so. And it'll give us a region for the glass panels and whatever. I'll just bring that out, pretend that is the glass panel. Something like that. Alright. Add mesh, add cylinder. Okay, this one. And we have steering wheel. Very, very simple. We will add more detail when we do the rest of that stuff later. In the floor, we might actually just leave a hole in the floor so you can actually just see the ground through it. We may add a place in there later when we detail the interior, but we'll see how it goes for now. That can be quite cool just to... So if we were in here driving the vehicle, we just bring everything back, like that. To be able to see all that out the front, and then just be able to see the wheels actually moving and turning underneath the engine, and perhaps see the back of the engine with a bit of smoke coming out, and just general makeshift jobs. Alright, so just get rid of those. Right, so what we need now is we need to have effectively another one of these. Scale them down. Close that up. And yeah, right there. Just make that quite long. Maybe not quite that long, maybe I'll grab it to there and we'll just extrude it down into the floor. Alright. Now the second one I've got here is for the the other gears and stuff. So get one of them. Probably not up high enough, but we can fix that up later. Okay, so what else do we need in an interior? We also need foot pedals. That's what we need, foot pedals. Foot pedals are very easy to do. So I'm just adding in a cube here. Flatten it out. Right. Okay, decent spacing between them. So we now have 3 pedals. If you don't drive vehicles, they are the clutch for changing gears, the brake in the middle, and the accelerator on the right. I'm not sure on American cars, is it? Flips on the other side. I'm pretty sure it's still clutch on the left and accelerator on the right. Though you don't quote me on that, because I'm not quite sure. Okay, so we don't need this one here now, so I'm just going to move it to layer 20, which is our trash layer. I would actually bring everything back. And we now have a basic interior in our basic vehicle. So that's it. That was about 15 minutes or so to create that interior. So I think it's probably been about an hour and a half, or maybe closer to 2 hours, blocking out this vehicle, which isn't too bad. That's probably about right for blocking out a vehicle in a tutorial. Obviously, the more you do, the quicker you get. You could probably, now that you've seen this, you could probably block out the whole thing in maybe half an hour. But that's alright. So yeah, what we're going to do in the next stage is we're actually going to come through and we're going to detail things. So make sure that you're up to scratch, you've got your blocked out vehicle, and don't spend forever detailing things, because we're actually going to replace pretty much all of the vehicle as we detail it. So yeah, that's all, and I will see you in the next video.